Hello and welcome to this special edition of the Off Topic Podcast, where we have today a special guest, Mr. Morris, who is a senior airman in the Air Force. Thank you for coming on with us, Mr. Morris.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So, what made you choose the Air Force when you were enlisting?
So, just like you young folks here, I was looking for a different way of learning. I'm assuming that's what brought you to the Tech Center. And as I was getting ready to graduate high school, I knew I had to do something. I needed to do something kind of big, and my options at the time were college and in my mind, military was a good option for getting some technical training, and that's kind of what made me make some decisions.
Would you like to ask the other question there, Terry? All right, what age were you when you joined?
I actually joined, I was kind of into my junior year, so I was like 17 when I was making the decisions to join, and then when I was 18 after I graduated high school was when I officially left.
Do you, where and when, what year and where, what camp or base did you serve in?
Yeah, so 1990 was when I left. And I ended up, I started out at basic training at Lackland Air Force Base, and that was in San Antonio, Texas. And then after the 8 weeks there, I went to Denver, Colorado at Lowry Air Force Base, and I was there all total with the training. It almost took a year, so it was quite an experience. But 1990 is when I got started.
Yeah, a lot of veterans say when they're in, they get moved around a lot.
Yeah, especially the early phases of you've got to get adjusted to the military life. That's really what basic training's about, and then they got to train you up for your specific skill set that you're going to be into as you're in. So,
did you choose to go into the Air Force for college, or just a whole nother reason why?
Great question. So to try to answer that, I got to go back to my mentality at the time, and I knew I wanted to learn in a different way. I wanted to do something technical. I didn't really know what that meant long term, so I did get into some technical stuff. And my thought process, as I recall at the time, was I want to be able to do something with this later in life, whether that meant college or whatever. I didn't know. But I wanted to give myself options, and it worked out pretty well for me, because I did end up using GI Bill. Most people have heard of the GI Bill. Ended up making a small investment for that, and ended up using it some years later. So
a lot of stuff has also changed from back then to now, because I want to join. I want to go Army like my family has, but it's changed so much because now all the branches are offering your college, paying full scholarship now.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options out there. Back when I joined, there was, it was basically you make an initial investment, and then 10 years, you had 10 years to use that. Now, depending on how long you join for and what branch, and maybe even if you're guard versus active duty, there's some different options, and quite honestly, I'm not well versed on what all those options are, but I know I have talked to some people that, it sounded to me like there's many different types of options. There's options while you're in to go to school as well. We had some of that when I was in as well. Doesn't fall under the GI Bill, but while you're active duty, you can they do encourage you to take college classes. So.
Yeah, because would you like to speak?
What was your favorite part of the entire situation?
The favorite part? Wow, that's, that covers a lot. Just gaining a new experience in life, right? So I would say, as you're in high school, as you go through school, elementary, middle school, high school, you get kind of used to a certain environment, and you just day in and day out, that's what your life is. And so I would say kind of my favorite part was kind of just a completely new experience. Your world, your life changes after high school, and you don't really, while you're in high school, you're so used to that routine You don't know what it's going to be. And so for me, it was that change. And it definitely opened my mind up to a different type of learning, which is what I was after. So I would say overall, just the experience itself, and also being a little bit more of an experiential learner. I got to do hands-on stuff, and I was really started to learn my style of learning at that time. So I would say, just as without having a specific item to say, that was my favorite part of it.
What did you go in and do when you were in it? Like, what was your job in the Air Force?
Yeah, great question. I'm kind of looking forward to this one. So again, kind of with the mindset that I wanted to be able to use this later, I went in under a program that guaranteed me a certain job classification type, and I went for electronics. The reason I did electronics, the reason I kind of chose that was because I knew nothing about it, and it scared me a little bit, and I thought, I surely will be able to do something with that later in life, right? Kind of that was my goal going in. And so I didn't have a specific job that I was going to, but I knew I was going to learn something about electronics. So so after my basic training, when I went to Denver, Colorado, Lowry Air Force Base, the first classes that I had for my technical training was fundamentals of electronics. And I did that for like 6 months. And it was like completely eye-opening because I was back in a classroom setting, but it was a different kind of learning. So from there, I went to like my more specific job, which was airplanes. So electronics on airplanes is called avionics. And then so they got me trained up on some basics of avionics. And from there, I ended up working on B-1s. It's a heavy bomber. If you've never seen one, they're pretty awesome.
They're huge.
And I ended up on a flight line working on B-1s as an avionics technician. So
Yeah. One good thing is that they started that earlier, because now we're getting into that area of cyber warfare, or pretty much everything is electronic. Like our unmanned aerial vehicles are electronic, so we don't risk people's lives in sending them. And if it does go down or has a malfunction, it's just the drone.
Yeah.
And they don't have to rush to send a search and rescue team to get people out and save them.
yeah, that's definitely an advancing technology. Is that back in the early '90s that maybe someone else saw coming. I didn't see that coming, but yeah, we were airplanes now. So interesting thing that you bring that up is just last week, my class, which I'm teaching the aerospace engineering class now, we went to Aurora Flight Sciences where they build drone predators for the military.
I think
so. I'm getting to see like that side of it in the civilian world now. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple of your students, which I'm related to, told me that they also saw them working on sea stallions. I believe you said the King Stallion or Sea Stallion, one of them.
Yeah.
Working on for the Navy. That shows a lot now that pretty much more people, civilians, are getting these jobs to work on this stuff instead of having to enlist to go work on it. Now you can just join a factory, go work on it.
Yeah, I mean, the military has always relied on civilians to build their airframes. Yeah, it's good for students to be able to see what that looks like on the civilian end, but there's still civilians out there building airplanes for the military. So,
all right,
we getting close on time, guys?
Yes, sadly,
wow,
but
that went quick. You guys are doing.
Yeah.
You guys are seasoned at this or something, right?
One last question before we go is, for anyone like me or anyone watching who want to join the military, what advice would you have for them?
Wow. Keep your options open. Think long term. And know that there's nothing anyone can say that should be able to convince you, because it's a very personal decision. It's probably fairly easy from your standpoint, from a young person's standpoint, to look and see like some of the glory in it. But what I would say is it's very challenging. You are away from family. You can be very isolated. It can be very lonely at first. And it's a huge commitment that you're giving up to go do that. So be careful when you talk to the recruiters. think long-term, and just be cautious. Look at your options. There's a lot of good options out there. So military is not for everyone. It truly isn't. I mean, I honestly, I know you guys got to go. We're getting short on time, but it wasn't for me long-term. I did the 4 years and got out and had plenty of great options afterwards. But so just continue to look at your options, what's out there. And if I can ever advise anybody, let me know.
I also have been told, like, this isn't trying to be mean to anyone, but a lot of people say when you join, after boot camp, those are like your brothers, your new family, another family you have. But another thing is, a lot of people say, don't go in thinking you know it. Go in wanting to learn and push yourself to it, because if you go in thinking you can do it and not push yourself in boot camp, it will not go out good.
That's good advice. That's good advice, yes.
But with us having to wrap this up, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Nice job.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely, yep.
And we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys.